All right, everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Jordan Report. This is your host, Robert Jordan. Please like, subscribe, and share. All right, Stacy Abrams is back in the news, guys. And so it's time to talk about her and what she's up to, who she is, where she comes from. A lot of times, we take these people at face value. And we never look behind them to see where they're getting their funding from, where they get their agenda from, etc., etc. We just take these people, especially these black Americans, as face value. Okay? And especially if they have a white opponent, we don't even question them. We just support them regardless. But we have to stop doing that. It's very dangerous, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, Stacy. This is her new theme here. This was just produced yesterday. Former Georgia Democrat gubernatorial nominee Stacy Abrams is launching a voter protection program that would provide Democrats with fodder to win in 2020 presidential election swing states. The program, called Fair Fight 2020, would help Democrat Party leaders and activists in over a dozen battleground states to immediately begin building systems to make sure their voters have minimum problems casting ballots and that those ballots are counted, the Washington Post reported Tuesday. Abrams, 45, is scheduled to announce the program on Tuesday at a convention for the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades in Las Vegas. Abrams, who has spent a few months mulling the presidential campaign since her election loss to Republican Brian Kemp, will be focused on helping the Democrat Party in 20 battleground states. The initiative would cost between $4 and $5 million, spending money on states in the Midwest, Southwest, as well as 3 states with gubernatorial elections this campaign cycle: Mississippi, Louisiana, and Kentucky. Now, the question we should always ask ourselves, I just want to stop right here, and I'm going to end this very soon. Where is she getting the $5 million from? She doesn't have $5 million, as far as I know. Where would she get the $5 million to do this? Okay, that's what we have to learn to ask the question. We'll get to that later. I'm just saying that's what we should learn how to do. The first thing when we hear stuff like that is, where's she getting it from? Lauren Groh-Wargo, chief executive of Fair Fight, said Abrams wants Democrats to be more aware of voting irregularities such as voter machine shortages, inaccurate ballot counts, and lack of rules governing how votes are counted. Stacy Abrams and Fair Fight. You got the same thing here. Who's Fair Fight? Who backs Fair Fight? Where do they get their money? What's their agenda? Those are the questions we got to learn how to ask when these black Democrats show up like this. Stacy Abrams and Fair Fight are uniquely situated to bring together the desperate parts of the Democratic Party around ensuring that we have the most robust, thoughtful voter protection operation in battleground states for 2020. And that work has to start this year, Groh-Wargo said. Who are these people to determine any of this stuff? How are they to say this? Isn't it Georgia's responsibility to make sure that the voters, are being treated fairly? That's what I would think, to say to Georgia. But anyway, let's just move on. The failed Georgia gubernatorial candidate has spent time urging 2020 Democrat presidential candidates to speak out about the internal threat voter suppression is to the Democrats. Okay, I'm going to move on to the other articles. Only 2 of them. I'm going to try to wrap this up pretty fast. And I'm going to show you where all this is coming from. Here's an article from the New American. And this was produced June the 1st, 2019. Stacy Abrams joined Globalist elitists, anointed by CFR Bilderberg Group. For those of you who don't know who the Bilderberg is, and the Council on Foreign Relations is, you're probably already lost because these organizations have been around forever. And you're already supposed to know who these people are. So I would give an excuse to the younger people, okay? But the people who've been around a while should already know who the Council on Foreign Relations is and the Bilderbergers are. They're the secretive group. Well, they're not even so secretive. You can follow them around. You can follow their meetings and stuff like that. But she has joined this elitist globalist group. She says she's the longtime member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Okay? And if you understand that, you'll see why she says the things that she says and why her agenda is what it is. But let's just move on. Here's a report from the New American. Stacy Abrams has really arrived. The minority leader of Georgia House of Representatives Democratic Party in 2018 hotly contested Georgia gubernatorial election. Abrams scored a double anointing by a major globalist groups during the month of May. First, on May 10, she was chosen to deliver the keynote address at the Council on Foreign Relations, 7th Annual Conference on Diversity in International Affairs. She received the royal rock star treatment during that conference as the great and the good packed into a conversation with Stacy, a Q&A sessions emceed by the New York Times reporter, editorial board member Walter Porter. And I advise you guys to see this video. It's a little slow, but it tells you a lot about the Bilderbergers. It's actually comes across as an audition, where she's telling the Bilderberg group who she's speaking to that she knows their agenda. She speaks to their agenda. If you empower her, she will bring their agenda forward once she's in power, wherever she's at, whether she's the governor or the president, because these people can make her president. They made Obama president. Then on May 28th, the Bilderberg Group issued a press release announcing its annual conference, which this year is taking place May 30th through June 2nd in Montreux, Switzerland. According to the release, its list of participants and A-list some of the planet's wealthiest, most influential movers and shakers in the world's banking, business, media, academic, politics, as Bob Alderman noted in a May 29th report for the New American. And lo and behold, heading the list is none other than Stacy Abrams. Quite a coup for an unemployed minor politician. They see value in Stacy. Okay, these powerful people see value in her. They could make her president. They could make her governor. And when she's in these offices, they'll carry out her agenda. Please read this article. I'm just going to go down to the end, and then we're going to move on to one last part of end this with a video. Sometime back, obviously, the Globalist talent agency spotted Abrams as an articulate, marketable commodity who could effectively play the race card. A noteworthy milestone in her vita includes being selected in 2013 by Aspen Global Leaders Network to be member of the Aspen Institute Rodale Fellowship Class of 2013. See, we don't know any of this stuff when we vote for these people. We don't look behind them and figure out where all these people come from. We won't look up this and figure out what their agenda is. We'll just vote Stacy in office. And you'll be voting these people's agenda in office. And this is how we have to learn our politics. She was also chosen as keynote speaker in the 2014 Power Pack Plus conference entitled Race Will Win the Race. This is why she talks about race all the time. Because these people's agenda is race. The progressive path to victory. As one might gather from the conference title, the power mad folks at Power Pack Plus don't mind being explicitly and shamelessly racist, as long as exploiting race results in progressive victories. You have to understand why black politicians are talking all this stuff so recently, because it's somebody else's agenda. Power Pack Plus is a very serious hobby horse of radical activist Steve Phillips and his billionaire heiress wife Susan Sandler. According to the Ballotpedia, Sandler's Power Pack Plus pumped $10 million into supporting Abrams' campaign. That's where she's getting her money. While George Soros' Council on Foreign Relations dropped $1 million into Georgia Democratic Party to aid her. This is where she's getting her money, people. Other globalist features in Abrams' cap include her TED talk in December 2018. Being chosen to deliver the Democratic Party response to President Trump's 2019 State of the Union, and an appearance at the Brookings Institute in 2019 for another conversation with the ruling elites on race and political power in the United States. Topping it off is her appearance in the truly rarefied atmosphere of Bilderberg, where she can rub elbows with the wealthiest of 1%. while decrying income equality, which is probably her second most frequent go-to theme after voter suppression. Stacy Abrams is a member of the Bilderberg. She admits she's a longtime member of the Council on Foreign Relations. You have to just listen to the interview. Please go to the interview. And when you hear her talk about race, immigration, all that, that's the agenda of the Council on Foreign Relations and the Bilderbergs. Now I'm going to end you with another video of a longtime Bilderberger and Council on Foreign Relations that black people fell in love with. We supported him for 8 years and didn't even know it. But here's Obama talking to the Bilderbergers prior to his election.
And for the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
That's what the Bilderbergers are about. They're anti-nationalists. They're globalists. And that's why Obama had the border open. That's why these people are all pro-immigration. So let's be careful with our politics. That'll be it.